friends, hello and welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. So today we are seeing what would happen if there was an NHL where none of the NHL 2024 All-Stars were in the league anymore. Even with teams like the Vancouver Canucks losing 80 players, they're still better overall than the Chicago Blackhawks in this game. You know, every team trying to kind of dip down to the Blackhawks level this season. It didn't work, to say the very least. We're gonna use the Canucks. Canucks would be an interesting. I just meant to substitute by accident, but using the Canucks would be an interesting one because, man, how do you lose 5 players? That's a lot. That's still crazy to me how many players that made the All-Star game from one team there. But then again, in respect to Vancouver, I mean, those guys have been playing stellar this season. They're just going to figure things out without him, man. They're going to figure things out without really a team. I mean, you got Kuzmenko, and then all of a sudden you're dropping straight down to a lot of your bottom 6 players. And that's going to happen when you lose your top 5. Vancouver's going to lose everybody. I mean, they're going to get Hronek. Maybe Hronek can help this team out a little bit. Let's go ahead and look through some of these teams. You know, teams like the Washington Capitals, they didn't lose much. Just Tom Wilson, good grinder, good player, can put some goals in back then. That didn't lose all that core though. Outside of that, you still have Winnipeg. They did lose Kyle Connor, still got Scheifele, Ehlers. We'll see how that goes. Vegas technically lost nobody because Jack Eichel's injured right now. We already seen Vancouver. Toronto's another one. It's going to be John Tavares is having nightmares. This is reminding him back to the old New York Islanders days. It's John Tavares and a bunch of friends because there's no Marner, there's no Matthews, no Nylander, no Morgan Riley. A team that's going to have a tough go about it. Tampa, on the other hand, managed to get through pretty clean. I mean, you lost Kucherov, best player in the league, but, you know, this season at least, you still got Braden Point, you still got Stamkos, you still got Cirelli. I mean, you still got a solid team. They still might make playoffs. St. Louis is going to lose Bob Thomas. San Jose is going to lose Thomas Hertl. That's going to probably... that's probably going to do it for San Jose. I mean, I seen him as a Stanley Cup winner before that. Seattle's going to lose my boy Bjorkstrand. Crosby's gone for Pittsburgh. Philadelphia's going to lose Konechny. Pretty solid player in Konechny. Ottawa's going to lose Kachuk. Rangers not going to lose any. And this still blows my mind. No Panarin, no Zibanejad making the All-Star game. No Adam Fox. Instead, it was Trocheck and it was just Jorkin. The New York Islanders are going to lose. Oh, Barzal. I was trying to think who they lost. Nashville lost Forsberg. The Devils lost a big piece here. We're seeing them play without him right now. And Jack Hughes potentially going to play in the All-Star game. Surprisingly, it's like, man, if he manages to play now, that was one of the craziest things I think I've seen in a while. Is I'm saying Jack Hughes could potentially make the All-Star game. It's like, man, if you've been injured all season, your team's fighting for a playoff spot, and the first thing you rush back for is the All-Star game. Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't play, but if he does, hey, that's great too. I mean, he wants to participate. I get it, but it's man, I don't know. What's everybody's opinion on that? Personally, I'm way against it. It's like, man, especially if your team's fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, it'd be one thing that's playing for nothing. It's like, wow, you rushed back for an All-Star game. Potential injuries. Maybe you could have came back earlier and played for the Devils. I don't know. It's something about that just didn't sit well with me. We'll see what happens. The All-Star game hasn't happened yet. Chicago's going to lose Bedard, the bright spot of their team. Calgary's going to lose Lindholm, great season. Boone Jenner gone for the Blue Jackets. Carolina's going to lose their top line center. Florida's going to lose Reinhart, who's had a ridiculous season, and Bobrovsky. Did we just go right over Florida? I thought I just seen that. Buffalo, there's Boston. Boston's going to lose Pasternak. Big loss there. Omar, big loss as well. Pretty solid in net, though, was Boston, no matter who they put in there, it seems like. Clayton Keller's gone. And then last but not least, Trevor Zegras still on the team, but Toronto is not. Now, I would again, we're going to see how Vancouver does this season. I would imagine it's going to be ugly. Vancouver might get, you go a whole season sitting out those players. You obviously never want to do it, but it might be a first-round pick coming in the front door. A top 3 pick. But, you know, it's crazy. They're in that position where it's like, it's not even worth a couple injuries and tanking for one season because their team's just so good. And you don't want to lose any of those years under contract, any of those years age-wise for the players in that team because they're just playing such good hockey. They're almost a 500 hockey club, though, surprisingly. They're dead last in the division. Maybe not so surprisingly. They're going to lose a couple out east. Going to beat Minnesota. Going to lose to the Blackhawks of all teams, 13-20. Now it looks like things are starting to click for this Vancouver Canucks team without any of their good players. Right now, it's the Flames and the Kraken and the Ducks really benefiting from this division being gutted. Vancouver ain't going to make the playoffs. That's a shocker. 75 points out of Kuzmenko. He had a really good season still. That's kind of impressive. Who's the All-Stars of the All-Star? They don't have the All-Star. I can't believe there's still an All-Star game in this game. They don't have the All-Star game or the stats that would see who made the game. But the Seattle Kraken first, Calgary second. Edmonton, that's surprising. Edmonton without McDavid or Draisaitl still made a play. Wow, good for them. Still 3 goals per game. Anaheim, again, capitalize on it. Only one player missing from the team. Vancouver, dead last, kind of expected. The Kings down there, the Knights, the Kings losing their goaltender. San Jose's not too shabby this season either. Going to the Metro, it was the Blue Jackets. Again, Blue Jackets, great team on paper. They just haven't been able to make it click for some reason this season. Carolina loaded up and down the board, only lost one player. The Devils did lose Jack Hughes. Devils still made playoffs. Capitals losing Tom Wilson. But, when the Rangers, Islanders, Penguins, Flyers lost a key player, it kind of opened the door for them Capitals. Looking at the Central, Dallas, Colorado, Winnipeg, Nashville, that just feels like a very Central-like playoff thing. It seems like the same. I guess there's a lot of diversity really in the Central when you think about it, where it seems, minus Arizona, where there's a lot of teams seems like they rotate in and out all the time, where it's like, oh, I'm not really surprised they made playoffs. Moving to the Atlantic, it was Buffalo at the top, Detroit number 2, Ottawa number 3, Boston 4. There's Toronto barely missing still. Well, not barely, lost by 9 points, but they, there's a contender. Tampa's the bigger surprise. Tampa had some good players, a lot of good players still. Dead last in the division were the Tampa Bay Lightning, but nonetheless, we got to see who's the best players in the league. Give it to us, because the best players in the league no longer exist. So it's okay then. Johnny Gaudreau, 108 points, waking up. Tage Thompson, 100 points, 41 Genos. Mikko Rantanen is running circles on the players, 53 goals. Panarin, 95 points. Zibanejad, 93. Those guys real quickly saying we would have appreciated an all-star selection. Braden Point, same story. Patrick Laine, 90 points. Blue Jackets went off. Now I see why there's up there in the playoffs. Stamkos at 87. Nate Just did really well. Jake Robertson was another one that surprisingly missed. There's just only so many spots. That's the thing with the All-Star game. There's only so many spots. There's so many good players in the league. Taylor Hall had 80 points. Bouncing back is Taylor Hall. John Carlson had 80. What a season for the defender. Dougie Hamilton had 78 points. That's another one. I forgot the Devils lost Dougie Hamilton to the season from an injury, so they got to keep him. Kopitar had 75. Teravainen had 75. Oh, he was 42 goals again for the wily veteran at this point in time. What is he, 38, right? Yeah. Eric Carlson had 74 points, bouncing back. Uncle Bill Carlson had 74 points as well. There, Cam Tuck. Stützle played really well. How'd the goaltenders look? We lost, 8 goalies? So others had to step up, like Frank Hughes, who did. Markstrom, 906. Luukkonen had a 919 save percentage, 41's not too shabby. Scotty Wedgwood. Okay, no Ottinger, and Wedgwood stepped in and stood there at the plate and hit a home freaking run. Good for him. Let's go into, who do we want to be? We want to be the, we got to be my Blue Jackets. I mean, the Blue Jackets make playoffs? Yeah, let's see how they do. Going up against the Capitals, Blue Jackets going to be the number 1 seed in the division? Hey, I'll take it. I hope they don't, get bounced in the first round, but I'm going to take it. And, yeah, about that. Well, it was fun while I was there for all 4 games. Boston's going to get bounced by Buffalo, it looks like. I believe that's what's happening. We'll see who Buffalo's got in the second round here. They're going to face off against the Ottawa Senators. Who would have seen that matchup coming, 4 or 5 years ago? Who would have seen Buffalo advance into the conference championship? It's going to be Buffalo, Washington, Edmonton, and Dallas in the conference championship. I knew you could never. I would have bet the house on it that Edmonton wasn't going to make the conference championship without McDavid and Draisaitl. That's wild to me. They're going to get bounced in that round. It's going to be potentially Capitals Stars in the Stanley Cup Finals. No, it's going to be the Capital Stars. I don't know what I was thinking. Capital Stars series tied 2 apiece right now. Which one comes out on top? Dallas looking to bring home that championship, and Washington says not so fast. It is going to be the Washington Capitals winning a Stanley Cup again. No, they lost Tom Wilson. He's an important, tone setter. He's a good depth player. He's a good player all around in those regards, but clearly not big enough for him to not win a Stanley Cup. Art Ross went to Gaudreau. Tage Thompson got the Hart. James Norris went to Carlson. I forgot about how good of a season John Carlson had. Calder went to Fantilli. I like to see that. Consummate to Ovechkin. Husso, Vezina. The Jennings went to Luokinen. Gudas got the Masterton. Sucky went to O'Reilly. Ted Lindsay to Tage Thompson. And Mikko getting a Richard. And nonetheless, that is going to wrap things up for this video. As always, if y'all enjoyed it, I appreciate you liking, subscribing. You never have to. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.